Dave East is back with his new project, Hoffa, produced by Harry Fraud. Let's talk about it. What is steak and eggs? It is not a game.
Meal, steak and eggs.
Steak and eggs.
Steak and egg.
Steak, eggs,
Steak and egg. Steak and egg.
Yeah.
Steak and egg.
What is steak and eggs? Follow steak and eggs. Follow steak and eggs. Follow steak and eggs. Follow steak and eggs.
Steak and egg.
Yeah. What up? Welcome back to Steak and Eggs, man. How y'all doing out there, man? Life is great. Life is good. I hope y'all enjoying y'all life, dog. You know what I'm saying? So first and foremost, dog, I'm going to need y'all to like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, dog. Subscribe and follow Steak and Eggs on every platform from Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Anchor for the podcast, Spotify for the podcast, Apple Podcasts, any and everywhere, man, that you can even think of. Patreon, we are everywhere, trying to be as many places as we can. We got playlist on Audio Mac, playlist on Spotify, dog, and then go to www.steakandeggs.com for the merch and the blog, and we need to start making new blog posts so we're gonna be getting that under control real soon too, dog. So yeah, man, so like I said in the intro, Dave East, Dave East and Harry Fraud, dog, they just linked up to create a monumental project called Hoffa, dog, and in my opinion, it's a fire project, man. I hope a lot of the people that are listening are fans of Dave East, and if you aren't familiar with Dave East music or a fan of Dave East music, I hope that this project is something that you can gravitate toward. It's a great project to me. Shout out to Harry Fraud, man. I hope Harry Fraud is getting his roses, dog, as one of the greatest producers in hip hop right now. I've been a fan of Harry Fraud since about 2010-ish, maybe around 2009, 2010, with his earlier work with French Montana. So like with a lot of people that don't really like French Montana and stuff like that because of, he can't do a song without mad features, or he can't do tracks, just like, a lot of people be hating on Montana, bro, but a lot of people don't remember when Montana and Harry Fraud, dog, was really killing the mixtape scene. And so now Harry Fraud is kind of like reinvented and branded himself, and he's still, I want to say he's still with Coke Boys, because he was French Montana's main producer, you know what I'm saying, the Coke Boys producer and stuff. So if you go back and listen to those Coke Boys tapes, you'll hear Harry Fraud production on all of the earlier Coke Boys tapes and stuff, the real soulful stuff, and that's the French Montana that I'm like one of the biggest fans of. Every time him and Harry Fraud get on the track together, you know what I'm saying, or do a tape together, anything, is always something monumental. And so now Harry Fraud has been dropping tapes with Dave East. He just dropped the Plugs I Met 2 with Benny the Butcher, been dropping tapes with Jim Jones. Everything that Harry Fraud has done with Currency has been lit and everything like that. So yeah, man, so now it's him and East turn, and this Hoffa project is just amazing in my opinion, dog. It just dropped, but it's really been on repeat like a mug because it's just dope. And like I said, I'm a fan of Dave East. I've been rocking with Dave since about 2011, maybe 2012. Dave is just one of those guys that I just remember when he first was coming on the scene and stuff like that. He kind of gave me like the vibe of like more gangster version of J. Cole and stuff like that. But I remember his earlier projects, like, Straight Outta Harlem, Black Rose, stuff like that. Hate Me Now was one of my favorite Dave East tapes and everything like that. And so, Dave has just kind of been growing over the years, bro, since signing with Nas and just dropping all these projects or whatever. And he hasn't really had like maybe like that hit single or that platinum selling single. He had Perfect with Chris Brown and everything like that, but Dave really makes music straight for like his core in the streets, and you know what I'm saying, like he has a cult following from that. So a lot of people that aren't familiar with Dave East or aren't bigger fans of Dave East is probably because he's not one of the more popular rappers that you're familiar with. He's not a Drake, not on that level of making hit after hit like Drake does. So it's like the people that are fans of Dave East appreciate Dave for who he is. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, man, I'm happy that to have seen Dave's journey this entire time, and for him and Harry Fraud to connect. I really want to believe that the first time they might have connected on a song was Maneuver off of Karma One, I want to say. Might be mistaken. What tape was Maneuver on, dog? But I think that might have been the first time that they actually did a song together, and that song actually featured French Montana as well. And so you know, let's get into the album, dog. So the album starts with the Disappearance, and if you're familiar with the story of Jimmy Hoffa, he was like a guy that was like running like the Teamsters and stuff, like the president of the Teamsters back in like in between like the late 50s and the 70s or whatever it is. And he went to prison and everything like that. But the Teamsters was doing a lot of business with like the mafia or whatever it is. And then when he got out of prison and stuff like that, he like disappeared. And so like people believe that the mafia had something to do with his disappearance and the death of him. You know what I'm saying? And so the first song is The Disappearance. And, you know, Dave just comes on like Dave and just doing his rap. Like Dave is just dope, bro. And I think like people have to really pay attention to how dope he is. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like for him to just come up with as many raps as he does, or to drop as many East mixes as he does throughout the year, to drop just random Lucy tracks, to drop as many mixtapes that he does. You know what I'm saying? He's he dope, bro. You know, he just dropped something with his new artist Millie's, who's a white dude. And I want to say, I feel like Millie's might be from Boston, if I'm not mistaken. But Millie's is really dope too. But so him and Millie's just dropped a project not even like a month or two ago, dog. And so yeah, that was a pretty dope tape as well. And I like the stuff that Dave had with Styles P as well, that Beloved, and they need to hurry up and drop Beloved too. But like I said, so the Disappearance was a dope intro. He come on, he just spitting like usual Dave, and you know, it's just like perfect like introduction, perfect like setup for Harry Fraud to just make like Harry Fraud is able to like create movies. Like his beats sound like movies. Like if you go and listen to, I would want to say Leaving the Dock by Currency off of the Cigarette Boats EP. And you know, he did that entire EP, Biscayne Bay and everything, but Leaving the Dock was the intro off of that tape. And it's just like creating a movie. It sounds like you'd be on a yacht and you in a shootout with cocaine dealers or something like that. And so like Harry Fraud is just able to do that. And he just did the same thing on Plugs I Met Too with Benny the Butcher. And like I just said, he dropped the Fraud Department with Jim Jones not too long ago as well. All of this in 2021, dog. So it's like he's been working nonstop, constantly, just dropping ill projects and ill music and beats for dope artists. You know what I'm saying? And you can't help but to get on the track and just spit fire. 60 for the Lawyer is the second song, and this might be, I feel like 60 for the Lawyer is my favorite song. I just love that beat, man. It's just like a cool, soothing sound, dog. And it's just like Dave, just like doing Dave, dog. Like, bro, like I really hope that you guys have heard this project. If you haven't, dog, really go listen to this project. I really feel that you'll be amazed. So 60 for the Lawyer is my favorite song. And Diamonds, that was the first single off of the project, and it dropped a couple weeks ago with a video and everything like that. Diamonds is dope. Just Another Rapper is a dope. It's a dope track as well. You know, all of these songs, Dave is really just really spitting, really talking his stuff on every song. You know what I'm saying? And then he's like, it just comes around to like, I just didn't want to be just another rapper. You know what I'm saying? Go Off with G Herbo, I thought was really dope and stuff like that. You know, a lot of people don't like G Herbo because he wasn't always like an offbeat type of guy. You know what I'm saying? This is like a new G Herbo. Like if you go back and listen to G Herbo when he was Lil Herb off of the Phaso Land mixtapes and Ballin' Like I'm Kobe tape and everything like that, you know what I'm saying? Like he was really like on beat, like, you know what I'm saying? Really, really spitting. But Herb can really, really rap, bruh. And so on Go Off, I really like that he did the hook and he also had a verse or whatever, and you know what I'm saying? And it was really dope in my opinion. It might throw other people off because like I said, Herb has he's always like, he just can be off beat sometimes and stuff like that. But I don't know why his style is like that. Maybe he just likes to talk or whatever it is. But I felt like that was a good feature, and him and Dave have a good relationship. They have a lot of songs together where it go like check out some of their songs. They have a song I feel like with Don Q where they're all like, you know what I'm saying, kind of like the in and out flow, kind of like what Jadakiss and Styles does. But I believe they have a song with Don Q just like that. And they have other songs together. Him and Dave and Herb have a good working relationship. Uncle Rick with Benny the Butcher is fire, dog. Like, when have you ever heard a bad verse from Benny? I never have. And for Benny to hop on a track with Dave over a Harry Fraud production. And like I said, Harry Fraud just did Plugs I Met Part 2 for Benny too. So it's kind of like just picking up where you left off. Like he's just creating a universe of all of these guys, because if you really just pay attention to the features on this album, as I'm about to get into, it'll go back to like all of the names of the people that I just named that Fraud has done a project with in 2020 and 2021. So yeah, The Product, dope. Money or Power with Jim Jones, shout out to Harlem, shout out to Dipset. You know, Jim and Dave, they both from Harlem. They have a good relationship with each other and stuff like that. You know, Dave is from Bloodshed, who was Cameron's cousin. Dave is from like his block or whatever it is. So it's just like all connected or whatever. And so Dave has done mad songs with Jim and vice versa. He's always in like their videos, always at like their video shoots. They be on his video shoots. Dave has songs with Jewel. So like Dave has a good relationship with the entire Dipset. And so like that's pretty dope. But like I just said though, Jim Jones dropped the Fraud Department, and I want to say Jim has another project with Harry Fraud, but I might be tripping. But they just dropped the Fraud Department not too long ago, so you have to go check that out. Every video that Jim has dropped for that, and shout out to Jim for just even becoming even just like a better rapper. If you remember Jim back in the day with Dipset, he was probably like the weakest link as far as like being a lyricist goes out of Dipset. You know, you looked at Jewels and J.R. Ryder, Hell Rail, maybe 40 Cal, even Cam for like actual like lyrics and bars, and Jim just made gangster music. But now Jim has like really elevated as an artist over the years. You know what I'm saying? Like I always mess with Jimmy mixtapes and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? And so like I'm just happy to see that he's still kicking, he's still dropping heat, and he's going to deliver you at least 2 projects a year, and he's working with good producers. And I'm happy that he was able to work with Harry Fraud, especially with Harry Fraud being French Montana's boy as well. You know what I'm saying? And him and Harry Fraud making an album together, and, you know, Jim and French killed they beef in the process of it. So, you know, it's dope how everything kind of lines up like that. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, man, I Can Hear the Storm. Another great song, Dollar in a Dream, with Stephen Young. Whoever this Stephen Young guy is, I'm not too familiar with him, but he really did a good job on the feature of like he was singing on the hook, and that was a real deep song, a dope song that I really liked. That might be Another one of my favorites, Count It Up featuring French Montana. Like I said earlier, every time French and Dave on the track together, it's a banger. Maneuver off of Paranoia. That was the album that they did Maneuver off of, and I feel like Maneuver was Dave's first song with on Harry Fraud production, and that featured French Montana. And so like him and French have just like make good songs together, dog, especially if Harry Fraud is on the production. And like I said, Harry Fraud and French Montana, like from what I remember, that is who Harry Fraud started out with as the Coke Boys producer, which is French Montana's group and record label. You know what I'm saying? And so that relationship is always going to be there. And like I said, if you're not a fan of French Montana, then it's probably because you're not familiar with his work with Harry Fraud. So you have to go back and listen to like that 2010, 2011, 12, earlier Coke Boy stuff, RIP Chinks Drugs. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Cheese, shout out to Flip. Even when Charlie Rock was there, go check out that Casino Life stuff, Coke Boys 1 and 2, 3, man, even 4, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, bro, like Harry Fraud is lit, bro. You know what I'm saying? He's been lit for a long time. So I'm happy that people are finally getting familiar with who he is if you're paying attention to it. He's been around for a while, but he's really cracking the surface right now. So I'm hoping people are paying attention. But I really like that song. I like the hook that French did, and I like French's verse. And of course, Dave just ripped it, and it's an awesome beat, bruh. That's one of my favorite songs. The Wind featuring Crutch Calhoun, ill, super ill. Crutch Calhoun is one of Dave's homeboys, but I want to say that he's from the West Coast, but I think that they both might be the same, like 30 Crip. But I know that him and Dave are homies. You know what I'm saying? I've been seeing his name around for a while. Even when Dave got put on, he was always like tagging Crutch Calhoun in tracks and stuff like that. I mean, not in tracks, but in pictures and stuff. But he had just dropped like a freestyle with, it was like Crutch Calhoun, a few other Crips, Lil Cotty, PGE, that was he was one of like Nipsey's artists and stuff like that. He was on the Mailbox Money on the freestyle. If you listen to Nipsey Mailbox Money album, I mean, yeah, that project that he dropped and stuff like that, it was a freestyle on there. And the little dude, it was a dude on there named Lil Cotty PGE who had freestyle. Well, he just did a song with Dave East and Crutch Calhoun and a couple of other Crip guys. I know TF, who happens to be Schoolboy, one of Schoolboy Q's homeboys, was on the song as well. But they rapped off the J.O. Felony, who was another Crip, but J.O. Felony, What You Gonna Do? You know, they just rapped off of that. That just dropped like a couple of months ago, so you guys should probably go check that out. But Crutch Calhoun, I really liked his verse on this track, dog. It was really dope. He kind of reminded me of, he kind of has a style like Dave, but at the same time kind of like Jay Stone from All Money In and stuff. And it's just crazy, like they all Crips, they all cool with each other and everything like that. You know what I'm saying? They all have a working relationship. And RIP to Nipsey, man. And so that was a great track. Yeah, I Know featuring Kiing Shooter. RIP to Kiing Shooter. We did a tribute to Kiing Shooter on YouTube last year, but you know, we kind of couldn't get monetized for it and everything like that. It had like a kind of copyright flags and everything like that, man. But Kiing Shooter was on his way. That was Dave's best friend, dog. Kiing Shooter had actually got signed to Jungle, who is Nas's brother. He had got signed to his record label right before he passed. He had dropped a tape. He was going on tour. He was doing shows, man. He was really getting his own money, man. But yeah, man, he just had an untimely passing, dog. And yeah, that was Dave's homeboy. And so it's pretty dope that they had this song. I don't know how old this song is, or if this verse just was in the stash, or what, or how long even Dave had been working on this project with Harry Fraud, or what. But whatever they had with this song was really, really dope. I really like Shooter's verses and everything like that, man. That's a really, really dope song, man. And and I think that was really dope for Dave to put this actually on the project as one of the last songs, you know what I'm saying, just to kind of send it out the right way, you know what I'm saying. So RIP to Kiing Shooter, man, gone too soon, man, real one. And Red Fox Restaurant with Currency, man, another artist that I just said works frequently with Harry Fraud. He just dropped the tape with Harry Fraud not too long ago as well. Man, every time Harry Fraud and Currency link up, man, it's a great song, or it's a great project, dog. Yeah, man, every time, dog. Currency just dropped a project, man, with Harry Fraud. I want to say it was last year, because he had the song on there, Golden Chrome, and he had a couple of other songs off of that project, man, that I really can't think of off the head right now, bro. But I feel like y'all should go check that song out. Check that project out. But yeah, Red Fox Restaurant off of Dave's off of this album is really dope, and it's the last song on the project, and I thought that was dope to finally hear, because this might be the first time that I've ever heard Dave and Currency on a track together. This might be the first time they've done a track together, but it was actually a really, really dope track. You know what I'm saying? Currency just being spitter as usual, and you know what I'm saying, and they really sounded great on the song together, and it was just the perfect way to send it off, man. Oh yeah, and so yeah, the Currency project that dropped in 2020, and it was called The Outrunners, and that's the last project that Currency dropped with Harry Fraud. But before that, a couple months before that, he dropped the director's cut with Harry Fraud. And so yeah, Currency has just been he drops music with Harry Fraud all the time. They have at least 3 or 4 projects and tapes out, you know what I'm saying? And so to hear Harry Fraud and Currency and Dave East on the track together, and it's the last track on Dave's album, man, I just really felt like that was just a really dope way to send it out and stuff like that. So yeah, man, overall, man, I really feel like this is a great project, dog. I really can't compare it to any other Dave projects that I can think of right now, where I just feel like it's just growth in him. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like he's just growing. Every project, Dave, it sounds different. Nothing sounds the same with him. And it might be from the production of who he's working with, but this might be the first time that he's actually worked with one producer the entire time. So I would love to see him take on doing a project with Hit Boy next or something like that. But yeah, this is Dave's first time doing an actual project with one sole producer, and I really feel like it came out really, 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 really dope, dog. So yeah, 10 out of 10 on this, man. It's been on repeat. Like I said, man, my favorite songs are 60 for the Lawyer, Uncle Rick with Benny the Butcher, of course, Money or Power, Count It Up, Red Fox Restaurant. Yeah, I know. There's not a song that I really don't like or anything that's skippable. So yeah, man, y'all go check out Hoffa by Dave East, dog. Thank y'all for everything, man. You know what I'm saying? Y'all have been great, man. We see the comments that y'all leave on Instagram, dog. You know what I'm saying, man? Just keep on running everything up, man. The comments that y'all leaving on the YouTube channel, for all the subscribes that we got off of our last video about Kanye, that was really dope. So yeah, man, till next time, dog, continue to show Steak and Eggs love, man. Follow us everywhere, man. Like, subscribe, comment, share, tell your cousins, man. Go to the website, man. And yeah, man, it's lit, man. I love all y'all, man. Peace.